This is Shaking Out the Numb. I'm Erica Heilman.
Oh my gosh, classic one-lane Vermont bridge. Here we are.
Covered bridge. It's a covered bridge here in Vermont.
This is my first one. Oh, hello. I love you. Never gotten to make out in one of those.
That's Amelia Meath of Sylvan Esso, and this is a conversation I recorded for my podcast Rumble Strip. We were driving in the same car because this was before COVID. Nick and Amelia were on tour for their record, What Now? And they'd come to play at a big venue in Vermont, a much bigger venue in Vermont than the last venue in Vermont I'd seen them play in. Because between the two shows, they'd gotten pretty famous, which I figure must be a really strange thing to be. So Amelia and I drove around and we talked in the car, and then we sat on a public beach, and I asked her about what it's like to be famous, which is one of those things like money that you're really not supposed to talk about. But in their latest record, Free Love, Amelia writes about it and sings about it. Here's Amelia. When you become famous, how does it change the way that your relationships work?
You know, I think that it depends on how close you are with the people. You know, like if you had previous relationships with them, then you're fine and they can still tell you that you're bullshit. If you had like tenuous relationships with them, or they like thought you were like kind of friends at one point and then drifted apart and then got back together again, then all of a sudden you get treated like you have more power for no reason.
And is it hard to...
It's just not interesting, because what happens is every time you try to open up, it looks like I've had this with a couple people where like I'll think that we're like meeting at the same level, and we'll like begin like opening up and like having one of those good like sharing emotional experiences feelings, and then I'll open up like one more degree and I'll see this light in their eyes where it looks like they're eating what I'm saying, and it feels like all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, you're after something different.
Is it because that there's a vulnerability that they feel proud to have earned somehow?
I think so. Or proud to have seen. Because that's the other thing, is that like usually when you're just beginning a friendship, you're trying out all of the small vulnerabilities in front of somebody to be like, can I do this in front of you? Can I do that? And when I see someone and like immediately, like when I see the like ka-ching, like I got it thing, that, you know, that's literally the opposite thing that encourages vulnerability, right? Wow, this is so beautiful. See, here's the other thing. Maybe that's just my ego. Maybe that's me, like, in my little brain being like, you're famous now.
Well, that's the problem, is that you can never be sure.
But it's more virtuous to not notice.
That's bullshit.
But you know what I mean, though?
I think it's a measure of good observation. Like, if you stop being able to do that, then you really are famous.
You're so right. You're
Don't
so
you think?
right. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, that makes me feel better.
I think you should feel better. Oh, this is where I graduated from 8th grade. The old lantern.
This is amazing that we're driving around your old hometown.
I looked good at that graduation, too.
I bet you did.
Yeah.
8th grade. Woo woo.
But I went through a K through 8 school. Did you go through a K through 8 school where you really, like, those kids are in your hard drive?
I wish. I was,
Let's go left here.
Left? I went to a special school for dyslexic kids. I am deeply dyslexic. Do I have the right of the way?
I think you're good. So everybody in the school was dyslexic?
Oh, yeah. And that's where I learned to read when I was 9. I had to read aloud while everyone was reading silently. And I had to read about Helen Keller. I remember just slogging through this book about Helen Keller. Being like, what?
What's the famous line? Oh, Annie. Annie is the Annie's the teacher, right? This might be Lake. Yeah, this is Lake.
Oh,
This
yeah.
right here. Annie.
Oh, is that when she signs? And Annie's like, oh yeah, and then Annie cries, and Helen Keller has been crying for her whole life, cries more.
The band is 2 people. There's only the 2 of you, so how are you doing?
We're great. During the last record, we're just in the studio together, which we're really good at. It's amazing to have someone that you can just really fail in front of, and it's okay. Yeah.
I remember he said, I remember though in the last interview, he was talking about how, that you're very different in your process, the way that you make things, and that you are very much more like me in the sense that you're like, it's not working.
100%. And sometimes I feel like the mean kid. Like he's like been like
he has
beautifully
to absorb a lot.
crafting this sandcastle for the whole time. Like just so wonderfully and beautifully. And I like walk in after like having taken myself out to breakfast and I'm like, this sandcastle is shit. Everything about it is horrible and it was wrong from the beginning. But like also I'm usually wrong, Like also it's usually like just me having to like have like a strong emotional push. And he's like, that hurts my feelings. Like he could get so hurt and be like, fine, make your own sandcastle. But instead he's like, okay, well, what's wrong with the sandcastle? What do we need to do?
When you go out now, is it different with a bigger house?
I'm so vaudevillian in my heart that when I see such a huge crowd, I'm like, I like Ethel Merman, and I'm like, how can I get my voice to the back of this? And so I just scream, yell, sing. And then at the end of the show, I'll be like, I did it, But it's just like wanting to get the energy. The easiest way to get more energy is to be louder and bigger. Maybe that's the first step. And at some point I'll figure out that it's actually like stillness and quietness that brings the energy in.
And mime.
In mime.
If you start doing mime.
I'll keep that in mind.
So you feel like you have to connect with the person in the very back.
Mm-hmm. That's the goal.
But I wonder if that's taxing after a while, if you...
Well, not really, though, because you're getting so much back. When it gets taxing is when you're actually interacting with people, but when you're on a stage and you're like, I see you all, like, let's go. You get so much energy from each individual person, like, back at you, just what you're giving to them. You do that and it feels amazing, and then, like, after the show, someone's like, you wrote this song and the song's about me. And it's about me, and it's about me and my mom. And let me tell you about it. And they want to touch you. People are starting to, like, want to touch my body in a way that sucks. We were in Boise, Idaho, and we went after the show. I had shorts on, and a girl came up and was immediately like, can I sit down with you? And I was there with, like, 4 other people, and none of us really had the gall to be like, none of us said no, but none of us said yes. And she did, and then she reached over and just, like, started stroking my leg, the top of my leg, and being like, your legs. At which point I was like, whoa, like, stop it. She was like, what? You can touch my legs. They're not famous person legs. What do you say to that?
Oh, I'm never changing, but in the reflection reflected in your eyes, well, the magic of being packaged feels amazing. To be free.
That's a fresh-ass butterfly. Hi.
I was thinking yesterday about my own sense of sort of anxiety about you're only as good as your last show. And I'm wondering if you in the last year, since we talked last, come to a different sense of the long-term trajectory of what you're doing?
Here's the thing that I keep on being astounded by is that I'm really excited to write a new record, which I haven't been, or like I've never been that. I've never been excited to write a record. I've always been excited to get the ideas and make the songs.
You're excited about writing songs, but not about making a record. What's the difference between those things?
No, I'm never even excited about writing songs. I think like something's changed where like I'm excited to do everything now. I'm excited to get in the studio with Nick. I'm excited to collaborate. I'm excited to talk about what we want to make and how we want to make it. Before, I was just really excited about performance, and now that's changing, which could be because I've gotten all of the attention that I've ever wanted, which is, I never thought that would ever happen. And now I want less of it. I think the thing that I was waiting for before was proof that actually it had all been luck and I actually sucked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that maybe, hopefully, I've reached that point where I can just be like, oh, I have to write things? That's fine. I'll just write them. And then some of it will be good and some of it will be bad. Yeah.
Oh, driving under the covered bridge, going to the shore. Going to the shore, you know, we're going to the shore. Driving under a covered bridge, we're going to the shore. A show, 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 a show, a show, you know.
I love you.
Oh, people always ask me what it's like to love everybody. What it's like to love everybody. They ask me. I tell them don't be crazy. There's too many people around me. If I love them all, they break me. You see? But if I'm being honest, it feels like each moment is loving at first sight. Oh, I love how your looks inside. Oh, I'm never changing, but in the reflection reflected in your eyes, oh, the magic of being packaged feels amazing. To be free in illusion. In an illusion of your making of me. To be free in deception, in a deception not crafted by me. So you see, it's me that I'm loving, though not the me that's talking. The one that lives in all those other minds. Oh, how I love her dearly. She never misses a beat. She's pirouetting blindly in the sky. She's free in illusion, in an illusion of your making of me. I'm free in deception, in a deception protected by me. Oh, people always ask me what it's like to love everybody, what it's like to love everybody. They ask me.
That was Amelia Meath of Sylvan Esso. The song is called Free, from their new record, Free Love, which is out now. Go to sylvanesso.com for more. I'm Erica Heilman. Thanks a lot for listening.